good evening. Thanks for joining us again. It started on a challenging note and for which a year should not be remembered, but not for too long. 2018 for the oil and gas industry witnessed a turnaround for the positive, and for NNPC, concerted efforts, ingenuity, thinking out of the box to pursue already ongoing restructuring, the Shakespearean tide in the efforts of the corporation have led to good fortunes. Here we are in 2019. Dr. Mekanti Kachala-Barrow, Group Managing Director of Nigeria's national oil company, the NNPC, leads this submission of looking back to the future, as it were, of what was, what is, what might have been, and what will be in 2019. Happy New Year, Nigeria. I'm Akin Agbejule. This is Oil and Gas Forum.
I call him a reformer. R for reformer, T is a transformer, and A is an actualizer. You know, he walks his talk. He promised that this depot will be resuscitated. It has been resuscitated.
The Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Barrow, felicitates with our dear compatriots in the new year. The corporation wishes you, your dear family and other loved ones a joyous and prosperous new year. As petroleum product supplier of last resort, Dr. Barrow assures of adequate petroleum product supply to satisfy your demands this new year and beyond. As usual, he advises motorists and other consumers of petroleum products against panic buying, as the corporation holds a stock of 30 billion liters of petrol and 90,000 metric tons of kerosene expected to last 60 days, assuming no fresh consignment is added. The GMD wishes all a prosperous new year.
As part of the countdown to the year end, the Group Managing Director of the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, Dr. Mekanti Barrow, took a hard look at the performance of the national oil company under his purview, proclaiming the giant strides that have been recorded in the outgone 2018. Dr. Barrow's review of the performance of the corporation and that of the industry at large covers the major spectra of the sector, the upstream, midstream, and the downstream sector. Explaining the industry's performance in the upstream sector, Dr. Barrow, in a comprehensive end-of-year message to staff of NNPC, said that during the year under review, the Nigeria's crude oil average daily production recorded an upward swing of about 2.06 million barrels in the outgone 2018, translating to a 10.75% increment compared with the 2017 average daily production of 1.86 million barrels. Pitched against the low-level average daily crude oil production of 1.2 million barrels in 2016 and what obtains now, the GMD said the nation had maintained a line of consistent year-on-year improvement. For the crude oil increment and other milestones recorded by NNPC in the outgone 2018, Dr. Barrow touted the new business models his team has emplaced in the national oil company's old and new business entitles as the most important for the giant stride. He listed the Nigerian Petroleum Development Company, NPDC, Nigerian Gas Company, NGC, Petroleum Product Marketing Company, PPMC, Duke Oil, NIDAS, and Integrated Data Services Limited, IDSL, as among the re-engineered companies that had made the difference. Dr. Barrow singled out NPDC, the corporation's upstream flagship company, as the major contributor to the industry's success story in 2018, expressing enthusiasm on the 52% daily crude oil production growth by the company vis-a-vis its 2017 performance.
In terms of ability to show that NNPC had been the premier E&P company in Nigeria is very, very, very important, because this is where we have fully NNPC staff and their contractors building, designing, building, operating facilities that are hitherto only done by IOCs.
NPDC's average production for the company's operated assets alone grew from an average of 108,000 barrels of oil per day in 2017 to 165,000 barrels per day in 2018, a feat regarded as the strongest production growth within the oil industry in recent times. The NPDC's equity production share closed at over 207,000 barrels per day, representing about 10% of national daily production, was no less impressive. The company's last average weekly production of 332,000 barrels per day makes the target of 500,000 barrels per day for 2020 achievable. It is instructive to note that NPDC is now the largest supplier of gas to the domestic market, delivering over 700 million standard cubic feet of gas per day to the Escravos Lagos pipeline system. The desired results were outcomes of initiatives Dr. Barrow-led management team in place, among which are the Asset Management Team AMT structure, Strategic Financing Unit Autonomy and Security Architecture Framework. Of the industry's milestones in the outgone year, Dr. Barrow described the 200,000 barrels per day addition, which the Igina Floating Production Storage and Offloading FPSO completed and sailed away to location in August last year, added to the nation's daily production as a giant development, revealing that the project achieved first oil at 11:20 p.m. on 29th December 2018. In the end-of-year statement, the NNPC GMD said the corporation saved $1.7 billion from renegotiating cash call arrears of $6.8 billion to $5.1 billion with the corporation's joint venture JV partners, adding that the balance had been scheduled for repayment over a 5-year tenure plan, saying already the corporation had defrayed $1.5 billion of the arrears. NNPC would stick to the repayment agreement with the JV partners as it transits to self-funding IJV modes with the corporation's partners, as tidying up the cash call issues had led to increased commitment and enthusiasm to invest in Nigerian oil and gas industry, and has also boosted NNPC's credit profile internationally. Dr. Barrow concluded the achievements of NNPC in the upstream sector by listing other milestones achieved by his team, to include reduction in contracting cycle for upstream operations to 9 months from an average of 24 months, with the corporation targeting a 6-month cycle, lowering of production cost from $27 per barrel to $22 per barrel, and improving on the security situation in the Niger Delta through constructive engagement and dialogue with relevant stakeholders. Dr. Barrow revealed that in the frontier basins, NNPC had intensified exploration activities in the Benue Trough, with the expected spudding of Kolmani River Well 2 soon. Activities are expected to resume in the Chad Basin as soon as there is a green light on the security situation in the enclave. In the Midstream, the NNPC GMD stated that in 2018, Nigeria achieved an average national daily gas production of 7.90 billion standard cubic feet of gas, translating to 3% above the 2017 average daily gas production of 7.67 billion standard cubic feet of gas. Of the 7.90 billion standard cubic feet of volume gas produced in 2018, an average of 3.32 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day was supplied to the export market, 2.5 billion standard cubic feet of gas for re-injection and fuel gas, 1.3 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day was supplied to the domestic market, and about 783 million standard cubic feet of gas per day was flared. Domestic gas supply capacity was marginally stable at about 1,700 million standard cubic feet of gas per day, with an average of 1.3 billion standard cubic feet of gas per day supplied to the domestic market, due to power evacuation challenges caused by frequency management as a result of rejection of allocated loads by distribution companies DISCOs, as well as transmission line constraints. Dr. Barrow said all existing power plants in the country now had a permanent gas supply pipeline infrastructure, stressing that the corporation would continue to expand and integrate its gas pipeline network system to meet increasing domestic gas demand. Key gas pipeline infrastructure projects on which significant progress had been made in the execution include Escravos Lagos Pipeline System, ELPS2, Obiafu, Obricom, Oben, OB3, Odidi Wari Expansion Pipeline, OWEP, Ajaokuta, Kaduna Kano AKK Pipeline, Trans-Nigeria Pipeline Project TNGP, and Nigeria-Morocco Gas Pipeline NGMP project. In the midstream refinery subsector, Dr. Barrow regretted that during the year under review, the nation's 3 refineries had not undergone turnaround maintenance TAM for an aggregate of 42 years combined. Despite the challenge, major rehabilitation works were, however, carried out in all the 3 refineries. For instance, WRPC has its Distribution Control System, DCS, successfully upgraded. PHRC had major interventions in Fluid Catalytic Cracking Unit FCCU and Power Plant Unit PPU fixed, while KRPC was undergoing major repairs of its FCCU, Catalytic Reforming Unit CRU, and Crude Distillation Unit 2 CDU. In the downstream sector, Dr. Barry noted that even though 2018 was riddled with some supply shortages, the corporation rose to the occasion with the support of President Muhammadu Buhari and the resilience and hard work of NNPC staff, leaving the country wet as at today. So far, the corporation's depots have been resuscitated and put into use through decanting of over 140 million liters of PMS nationwide, with System 2B and 2E pipelines supplying petroleum products to southwest, south-south, and southeast regions having been resuscitated.
We have to put all the various distribution facilities in order, and one of the things is to commission the depots. You cannot commission the depots without transporting products to these depots.
GMD assured that NNPC was on track in respect of the corporation's 12 key business focus areas, BUFA, and the vision of President Buhari to improving the status of oil and gas infrastructure through ensuring product availability to support national economic recovery and growth. He lauded the contribution of the corporation's downstream outfit, NNPC Retail Limited, for playing a significant role in ensuring continuous supply of petroleum products to Nigerians through its mega affiliates and leased stations. The company had made a sale of 1.2 billion liters of petroleum products in 2018, as against 1.1 billion liters in 2017, representing a 9% increase. The feat was achieved through an addition of 40 new affiliate and leased stations, bringing the company's network to 618 stations nationwide, all of which had enabled NNPC Retail Limited to transform from loss-making to profitability.
The target I gave of 30% by 2020 must be achieved. But we'll give you every support. We'll free you to run as a retail outfit.
The GMD has some kind words for the 2 industry unions, Nupeng and Pengasan, over the cordial relations that have defined their rapport with the NNPC management in recent times.
Our goals had always been that we want partners out of staff, and we can see the maturity in them when they make their submission on the petroleum industry bill. It was quite pragmatic, understanding the industry and ensuring their members' rights are preserved in the process.
Dr. Barrow stated that NNPC was currently planning for a better performance and achievement in 2019, especially with the continuous innovations and creativity in the downstream sector and the performance bond signed by all relevant heads of the corporation's operating units recently. He promised that continuous improvement, regarded as one of the principles of world-class organizations, would remain NNPC's key word in 2019, stressing that 2018 was empirically better than 2017. In 2019, Dr. Barrow assured that NNPC would plan and strive to achieve a better performance.
After digesting what has been variously described as a comprehensive and well-thought-out 2018 GMD New Year message, members of the NNPC workforce at the corporate headquarters received a fresh dose of New Year wonder as they found Dr. Barrow walking arduously from one office to the other to wish them Happy New Year on first work day of the year. The visitation, which saw the GMD make brief stopover in every office occupied by the corporation's staff across the 4 towers of the NNPC headquarters over a 3-day period, was replete with high drama. The sense of surprise was heightened by the informal nature of the visit, which was devoid of expected official protocol. What is more, the pleasant New Year courtesies were extended to all cadres of the workforce, ranging from top management staff to middle-level managers, supervisors, officers, lift operators, cleaners, security personnel, drivers, and even interns and support staff members.
Without a clean environment, we will not have a healthy workforce.
Yes, sir.
And without a healthy workforce, the corporation cannot function.
Thank you, sir.
So we really appreciate the service you are giving, and we expect you to do more in 2019.
The surprise visit also availed the August visitor the opportunity to assess firsthand the state of facilities and offices within the NNPC towers. At the end of the exercise, the GMD did not only succeed in boosting the morale of members of staff, as attested to by all the respondents, but succeeded in fostering a sense of belonging and importance in scores of workers.
I would like to thank you for your visit to us. It's a good starting point for mobilizing the troops to make sure that we meet our targets. And we also congratulate you on the fact that Mr. President has given this approval, which is based on the respect and integrity he has for your leadership, sir.
We have a smart team. It works. They are faithful. They are delivering on our task. And we're very proud that we can do greater things to support you and the company.
It only means that my 2019 will be very wonderful year. This is the first time I'm seeing my GMD in my office. It's an honor.
The first time in my 31 years of service in NNPC that a sitting GMD has visited me in my own office.
I'm very delighted. But of course, at the same time, I'm not surprised because this used to be his constituency. And that's going to be a very good morale booster for us in the Anti-Corruption Secretariat.
We feel very grateful for his warm approach to us. It's something we cannot express because we are overwhelmed. All we have to say on behalf of my colleagues, so we'll do our best to ensure that we do not jeopardize their effort.
This actually has boosted my morale. In fact, it tells me more about what I'm doing, and his coming here has encouraged myself and many of us here to do more.
I'm impressed that staff are aware of the tasks before them, and they also know that we intend to do a lot more in 2019, and they're getting ready for that. So the comments I'm hearing are very positive, and I'll call on staff to really gear up and deliver on 2019.
Hello, and welcome to the feedback segment of the program. My name is Julia Auta. The Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, is the state oil corporation saddled with the responsibility of ensuring energy efficiency for the country. On today's edition, we will be sampling the views of Nigerians after a successful 2018 on their expectation of the state oil giant this new year.
Let it be as it is in 2018. It's better. Let there be availability, but let it not be too costly.
I expect a little improvement from them since we've not experienced it this year, so we are hoping to see an improvement in the next year.
We expect an NNPC to put more effort in whatever they were doing. More grease to their elbows.
They should try to look into the price also, but they should still continue what they are doing. For us to be able to get it for them, and when we want it, it's okay. We are happy about it.
I want the team to continue like this. How I want to make the team make this cars again. Me, I don't want to make a soap now. I don't want people to make the soap again.
They should just sustain the tempo and ensure availability of the supply promptly, and at the same time, maybe by God's grace, if the fuel price tends to come down, then they should try to keep it down small.
The best should be happy. Let the best more than this come. That is my expectation.
Great departure from what has been happening during festive periods. And I think it's a welcome idea. And if Nigeria can maintain this tempo, it will be a great thing for us.
2019 is here. For sure, the NNPC will continue to touch the lives of Nigerians in many positive ways. And that's it on this segment. Please stay tuned for the rest of the program.
Hello, glad to have you join us on yet another informative segment of the program. I am Abigail Ojogo. Did you know that the Nigerian NLNG Limited was incorporated as a limited liability company on May 17, 1989 to harness Nigeria's vast natural gas resources? The NLNG produces liquefied natural gas, LNG, and natural gas liquids, NGLS, for export and local consumption. Did you also know that the establishment of NLNG is backed by the NLNG Act? The company is owned by 4 shareholders, namely the Federal Government of Nigeria, represented by the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, NNPC, with 49%, Shell with 25.6%, Total LNG Nigeria Limited with 15%, and ENI with 10.4%. Did you know that it has wholly owned subsidiaries, namely Bonny Gas Transport BGT Limited and NLNG Ship Management Limited NSML? Did you know that NLNG's operations, among others, have reduced Nigeria's flaring profile from 65% to below 25%? Did you also know that NLNG supplies about 40% of the annual domestic LPG cooking gas consumption? Now you know. Please don't go away. The rest of the program continues.
Hello and welcome to Global Crude Oil Outlook. Oil prices fell Friday amid volatile currency and stock markets, coupled with concerns that an economic slowdown in 2019 will cut into fuel demand, just as crude supplies are surging. Brent crude futures were down 50 cents at $54.41 a barrel. U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude futures dropped 75 cents to $45.79 a barrel. In physical oil markets, top exporter Saudi Arabia is expected to cut February prices for heavier crude grades sold to Asia by up to 50 cents a barrel due to weaker fuel oil margins. Observers said markets were rolled by a more than 3% slump in the US dollar against the Japanese yen, and after tech giant Apple caught its sales forecast. The slowdown in China and turmoil in stock and currency markets appears to be making investors nervous, including in oil markets. Oil markets are also under pressure from a surge in supply, just as demand growth is expected to slow. U.S. crude production stood at a record 11.7 million barrels per day in late 2018, making America the world's biggest oil producer. U.S. President Donald Trump said U.S. pressure had kept production high among allies in the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries. Others are not sitting idle, with Russian output reaching a record of more than 11 million barrels per day in 2018. Supply from Iraq, the second biggest producer in OPEC, is also up, with December exports at 3.73 million barrels per day versus 3.37 million barrels per day in November. And that's about the size of crude oil outlook on this edition of the program. My name is Solomon Iopave. Happy New Year.
With McKenty coming on board, there is stability in the rate of fuel supply. That is a good plus. And two, drivers or users, motor owners can go into filling stations and buy fuel, get out of the filling station without hazard.
That's quite a lot of details there in retrospect by NNPC's #1, Dr. Mekanti Kachala-Baru. Going into 2019, thank you very much on behalf of NNPC for being the good stakeholder that you are. The year will be fulfilling as well as fun-filled. Keep the date next week. Bye now.